But for today is very special because working in conjunction with the Hungarian government, we've launched officially today the Texas-Hungary Venture Bridge. And why is it special? Okay, so I want to remind everyone, part of the vision that I have about what's possible when you pull a group of entrepreneurs together, right, is, William Gibson said it first, right? He said, the future is already here. It's just not widely distributed yet. But the Kevin Coyne corollary to that is all the world's problems have already been solved. It's just a matter of connecting the entrepreneur with the solution to the market with the problem. The power of having venture bridges that connect the world together is the ability to discover, develop, connect, and scale other ventures into solving those problems. We've already gotten a number of applications for being a part of the Hungarian part of the Venture Bridge. We're going to hear from some of those companies today. We're also going to hear from the Consul of Hungary out of Houston, who will be talking a little bit more about specific companies and then just the country in general. And so we'll hop right in. And part of the idea, like I said, as we talk about this, when entrepreneurs are driven by vision and values, part of what we need to do as a venture outfitter is to support those entrepreneurs to go farther. Now, when I say entrepreneurs, I love that word so much. I use it a lot. And sometimes I do want you to know that we have large corporations that will be participating as well. One of our partner organizations out of Budapest, actually out of several different sites across Hungary, is called Tungstrom. And the other one is called BME, Z10. BME is focused more on the startups, and Tungstrom is a large corporation that's looking to drive more innovation. We'll talk about them in a few slides, and then we'll hear more from the Consul as well about that. Reminder, on the 26th here in Austin, Texas at DualWorks, our partner, one of our sponsors of this program, we're going to have a free seminar and free co-working day. And take advantage of this. Linda Blackman, who's a Venture Force 17 grad from many, many, many years ago, took over the Tech Ranch co-working location. And in support of that, I'll be launching, we're going to have a seminar that I'm going to drive about restarting businesses after COVID and how to get reconnected. That seminar will be available at 2:00. It's free. But the whole day was going to be a free co-working day. So take advantage of this time. Also, the partner organizations behind the Hungarian Bridge that morning are going to have a special meeting. So if you're one of the members of the partner organizations, or if you actually have something you'd like to bring to the table in support of the bridge, that morning at 10:00, we're going to have a special launch, another special work session around that. And so this was launched today. I already mentioned the Texas-Hungary Venture Bridge. I'm real excited about that, part of what's represented. And we're going to hear more about the details about the Hungarian side. We've heard about the Texan side and the city of Austin side earlier today. We'll now hear the other side from there. In the latest newsletter that came out from Tech Ranch, we had a call for mentors and a call for country managers. Mentors being, you have scar tissue as an entrepreneur to donate to other entrepreneurs, startups, scale-ups, perhaps even corporate innovation centers. You want to get involved in that. Our mentorship program is different than a lot of the kind, that we're not looking for just a massive list. What we're really looking for is people that are committed to this process. And this is the on-ramp to becoming advisors and perhaps deeper involvement in each one of these companies. We are expanding about that. I'll ask Jello in just a second to put that link into both the notes on YouTube for this information, as well as the link for applying for either one. What is a country manager, really quick? Well, a lot of times, if we really are serious about building these bridges around the world, we need to have concerned parties in all the different parts of the world. This emerged with an individual who's a professor at the MBA school at the University of Texas at Austin. He's Armenian by birth and has a lot of concern with Armenia. And he said, hey, Kevin, I know that Armenia is really small. We don't have a lot of resources to be funding a bridge. Would you even consider, doing some things with Armenia? And I said, I know the history of Armenia. It has partially a tragic history, but there's brilliance. There's like just a few weeks ago, I was interviewing a Armenian entrepreneur that now has this company based out of New York City. And they've got this amazing machine learning algorithm for discovering information in this one area that supports the environment and sustainability. Talent is everywhere, and we're starting to recognize that. So the idea about a country manager, this is not a paid position. It's kind of like we want to have people who are aligned with the country that they're stepping in for. And part of the idea is you're going to be the person on the ground, whether you're physically in Texas or you're on the other side of the world, who helps initiate the conversations and is kind of the guide for entrepreneurs in that community to step into the tech ranch process. And many parts of that, including this program that we're doing right now, are free steps. Like to step into the tech ranch community is free. Part of what we're attempting to do is just create this wider network. And so that's a call out for country managers. If you have offerings in the solar, electric vehicle, or related industries, we have a sponsor that has not been named yet, but is asking for me to continue to collect names. They're handing out money that's funded by the Department of Energy. I'll tell you more about that when we have an official, when everything is all worked out officially, but it's official enough for me to bring it up. You don't have to be residing in the US yet with your company to take advantage of what we're going to bring to the table on this. Now, that being said, the program that I'm specifically talking about is targeted at US companies that have point of presence in the US. The one commercial I'll do real quick, take advantage of our VO community for free, the VO weekly programs, and then the online community, like some of the interactions that happen in our Slack channels, and you'll see it happen in our Mighty Network. Obviously, several of you have given me feedback about saying, hey, I don't know how this works yet and stuff like that. And honestly, we're still figuring out what's the best way of taking all the work that we used to do in person. You know, when I was running those big 120 person campfire meetings to doing it online, right? We're still going to do the big events, physical events, now that the COVID economy is coming back to something that looks more regular. We will be doing that, but we want to take a lot more of that online. And so, you know, work with us. If you have feedback about that on the community side, let me know. For those of you, though, that are starting the fundraising process, or you want to take advantage of some of the supported offers from our list of vendors, whether it's something like Amazon Web Services, Dialpad, some of the Google services that we have and stuff like that, we do need to, one of the duties of TechRanch is to make sure that we've packaged you up the right way. And our first step for doing that is to get involved in the VO network, the Venture Outfitter Network. What does that cost? $99 a month, or if you sign up for a year, you get a discount. It's $900. Make a long story short, the whole goal about that is, since we have administrative costs associated with that process, we do make it a point to try to keep the costs really low, but take advantage of that if you're interested. And the thing I've been saying to people that are signing up is, I would spend, personally 30 minutes with you upon signing up to make sure that you're oriented quickly, because as we're figuring out the right model to take all this stuff online, that which we've had more than 45 cohorts in person, as we take that next step, we want to make sure that I want to personally make sure that you're oriented to how to take advantage of it. So switching gears. You knew that in 2019, we launched innovation bridges and venture bridges with the countries of Mexico, Italy, and Russia, funded by the federal government of Mexico, the national government of Italy, and the Eperjesi Foundation concerning Russia. And as I mentioned today, we launched the Hungarian Venture Bridge. Real excited about that. Some of the partners that are actually helping, the partners and the supporting organizations. Partners are the earlier stage organizations. Oh, looks like did someone just take over and start presenting? There we are. The partner organizations are the following. Ben Ramirez from Cogitari Global. He is the gentleman who actually is one of the gentlemen that's actually helping Tesla move to town. Tech Ranch, of course, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade of Hungary. We're going to hear from the Consul of Hungary out of Houston himself. BME Z10 is a organization, an incubator based in Budapest. That's one of our partners. And then Tungstrom is the larger corporation. It's a large corporation that's committed to innovation that will be partners. We also would like to thank the City of Austin, the Hungarian American Chamber of Commerce, and the Exports Association of Hungary as well. But that being said, I've asked the Consul of Hungary, Gábor Markocsány, actually, this is going to be, Gabor, you're going to have to teach me how to say your name. And I apologize that I'm usually good at that sort of stuff. And I think I've just had, since we have been talking now for about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours of programming that happened this morning on the Hungarian part of this, I'm going to just apologize and say, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. I'm excited about launching the bridge together, and love to have you share on the Texas side. Although I think we have Texas, Honduras, Mexico. Let's see. I see several other countries that mentioned, but the majority of people are in Texas. I would like to have you just tell us a little about the country, what's happening, what you think about the bridge. And let's just have interaction. Let's hear a little bit more about some of the companies that are going to be a part of the other side of this bridge. And so with that, let me just hand it over to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Kevin. And I certainly appreciate your effort, your time, putting your knowledge and network into this, to creating a bridge between Hungary and Texas, which I believe that many things happened in the last year and a half, 2 years with the COVID pandemic. One thing for certain, globalization became more integrated, in my opinion, and we are able to engage finally, create links, bridges that we are working on to create more effective and fruitful cooperations, partnerships, to sort of reorganize and take advantage of potentials that haven't been used for. I came from a part of the world which is still a bit in the dark, and of course, thanks for presenting me. And yes, my name is Gábor Markocsány. I'm the Consul of Hungary in Houston, located in Houston, Texas. Even though I'm a consul, that's more of a disguise because I work more with trade, and this office is for trade. And I will give you some data about that later. But the point is that with these instruments, like everything going online, we are able to sort of engage better and create these sort of cooperations more easily. And with that, we are able to form not only direct cooperations between Hungary and Texas, but as you mentioned, we have representatives of other countries as well. Y eso es muy agradable para mi corazón para poder hablar con ustedes. I have a bit of a background in Latin America, so I'm doubly appreciated with that. So, yeah, but let's my problem, I speak a lot, so let me try just summarize and start with my presentation for today, just to give you an idea about how Hungary it is in general and today. I believe you see my slides. So where to start from? Basically, Hungary is a member of the European Union, a free country since 1990. So all the history that we've been suffering is behind us, and we are in the path of growth and prosperity of market economy we've been on for the last 30 years. And we came quite a long way, and at this stage we're able to truly offer meaningful partnerships for you. And one of the signs of that is today's program, the Texas-Hungary Venture Bridge Program that we're working on with Tech Ranch. Uh, you may think that you don't know much about Hungary, but you know a lot of Hungarians. I did put up a lot of faces. Uh, Hollywood, I believe, is a big manifestation of the U.S. in the world. You may know now that Paramount Pictures and 20th Century Fox were founded by Hungarians. Actually, Color TV was founded by Hungarian. The technology to make movies, we have a big role on that, and you see a lot of familiar faces. I believe that you recognize from sports, from movies, from TV, and as you can see in the chart, in per capita comparison, we are in a quite good place in Nobel laureates, as we are in front of the US, for example, pretty much where Germany is, but we are passing like France or the average of the European Union or Netherlands, and that's not a fact to know about Hungary. I always advocate to forget the Cold War logic. Hungary is not Eastern Europe, it's Central Europe, as it is located. It's an area called Central Eastern Europe, which basically starts from Germany and ends in Hungary. As I mentioned, we are part of the EU since 2004. We are part of the UN, OECD, WTO, NATO, IMF. Hungary's climate is tropical, temperate. We have a really low risk for natural disasters. We're a democracy with a parliamentary republic. The population is a bit less than 10 million people, 9.7 million people, and our territory is about the size of New Jersey. We have our own currency, the forint. We didn't join the euro just yet. I believe at the stage of our economic development, it's still more advantageous to have your own currency. And we have major cities. Most of the biggest one, our capital, Budapest, which I'm positive that you heard of, with surroundings about 2.5 million people, and 5 regional centers, which with 100 or to 200,000 people in habitants. Our economy became extremely open and extremely trade focused, and that's pretty much the main driving force of our foreign relations. Even though we are the 88th in the world in regards of population, I believe that number is even a bit high now. Today we're down to like 90 some place, but we are the 33rd place in exports. We're the 20th greatest exporter in auto industry, the 19th in pharmaceutical exports, and in agricultural exports we have a really good position, especially crop exports, which we are the 15th. Of course, our main trading partners come from the European Union and our neighbors. But the biggest trade and business partner of Hungary, apart from the EU, outside of the EU, is the United States. The United States have about 1,700 companies present in Hungary, employing more than 100,000 people. Our trade figures are north of $7 trillion with the United States. Or a billion, sorry. And basically, the openness of our economy is shown by its numbers, that basically our trade, the volume of trade of Hungary is equivalent of the Hungarian GDP. Our main export commodities are manufactured goods, machinery, equipment, other manufacturers. Then we have a good share in food products, and Hungary, because of its geographical location, we are lacking of raw materials or oil and gas, for example. So this means that we have no aid. We we have to wake up early in the morning, work out through the day to generate the same GDP as there are many countries who have like 20, 30, 40% of share in their economy by just raw materials and oil and gas and other resources. Why Texas? Why I'm here? Why is this a consulate, which is generally a trade office? We do more trade with Texas, Hungary does, than we do with Canada. Within the United States, which is our greatest partner outside of the US, as I mentioned, Texas is our greatest trade partner with more than 10% in share of imports and exports. Of course, in previous presentations, you have seen quite a number of transnationals present in Texas. I will show you a few logos myself. Most of them will be identical. So you see transport equipments, computing electronics equipment, machinery as our main commodities. That's mainly due to international, the internal commerce of international companies. About the state of the economy in Hungary, of course, we've been hit hard by the pandemic, but luckily, well, it's not luckily because you have to work a lot for that, but basically we had a V-shaped rebound as Texas does. Especially in the last 10 years, we did a lot of change in economic and taxation policy to favor work and value-added creation, and that dividend is paying off. For example, in the crisis of 2007-2018, we had a 6.7 GDP contraction. Last year, we just had a 5.1%, which is even smaller than the average economy hit that the EU suffered. So this means that the Hungarian economy is in good shape, and it's even though it's not 100% resilient from COVID epidemic and crisis, but we are coming back strong. We had the highest GDP growth in the European Union prior of COVID, and this year with the 7.8% of GDP growth that has been confirmed by the IMF. So that's pretty much what it will be. We will have the third highest GDP growth in the EU, and the most important is that in 2022 it's estimated to be 5.5%. In 2023, about 5%. So this means we will be still on the track, where our GDP growth is still about 3% higher than the EU average, and that's what our economy needs to recuperate and enter into the class of advanced economies. We're at the edge right now. So coming from a communist, post-socialist, really poor country due to planned economy and having to be a part of the Soviet Union, we are among the countries who will convert into advanced economy. Last economy to do so was South Korea in '94. So if we are able to stay on this path, that will be the next success story. Actually, just Financial Times had an article just a few weeks ago about the Central European phenomenon that these economies coming from post-communist situation are blooming and converting themselves into prosperity. Investing wise, we are stable in investment grades. Our GDP per capita PPP is about $35,000 US, and that's basically coming from 10,000 like 30 years ago. That's again shows that it's a good path that we are on. And finally, we are able to emphasize on innovation and R&D, which always has been a heritage of Hungary. You see the you're seeing a lot of things that Hungary contributed to the world directly or indirectly. Probably I want to outline János Neumann, who created the first computer, which forms still basis of the computers we use today. And Andrew Grow, Intel, for example, not from far from here. Theodor Kármán, who was the scientist who discovered that supersonic travel is possible, and he laid down the basis of aerodynamics. So that's a pretty big thing. And actually, Edward Teller was the Hungarian who created the first propulsion engine. It was a grand propulsion system. But car safety, dynamo, PAN safety match, electric trains, even the first lunar rover was designed by a Hungarian. The Zeppelin was created based on blueprints that a Hungarian inventor did, but never lived to see happen. Holograms. Edison's light bulb was perfected by Hungarians, and it's the form we use it today. And of course, the Rubik Cube, which is the icon of the Hungarian innovation, and the vitamin, Charles Simonyi for Maxwell. List is long, but we always try to focus and safeguard that heritage and put it into modern ways. And due to the economic development is experienced in the last 15, but especially last 10 years, we are able to select and invite foreign direct investments into the country, which helps to implement high value-added creation into the modern Hungarian economy through R&D centers. ICT is a big sector. Automotive is a huge sector. Electronics, some aviation, food, industrial production. It's really something that we are focusing on. We have more than 70 companies in ICT, for example, on R&D. Activity. Our current spending is 1.8% of our GDP in R&D and innovation. Our goal is to reach it up to like 3%. So I already mentioned that you see a few logos that you already seen today earlier in the previous part of the program. The good thing that especially in of ours, for example, the AboSoft programming or Prezi, the alternative for Microsoft presentations, LogMeIn, which you use as a built-in feature in most of your online accounts. But you see that there are many things, automotive, the NNG, for example, majority of your sat navs in your cars comes from this Hungarian-Israeli company. And of course, big companies like Bosch, Continental, Audi have their research centers in Hungary. Jagger Land Rover is one of the newest. That's a really good story because that's a project we lost against Slovakia back in 2017. They were putting into Central Eastern Europe assembly plant and an R&D center. But at the end, the R&D center, it was put into Hungary because just the circumstances were bigger, and they are creating more value added than the whole assembly plant in Slovakia. Of course, you see Samsung with a big presence. That's not only in electronics but automotive as well. A few flagship players in Hungary. One of our prides is BlackRock. BlackRock came into the picture when with their investment when our economy was basically in high gear. So this means there was lack of skilled jobs. What they did, they put up an ad in London for 100 places, And although they got more than enough applications in one day from London, so that just means how Budapest and Hungary became competitive, interesting, and that's a good phenomenon is that about 70% of the investments are reinvesting. BlackRock started 4 years ago, with 500 places, and their biggest concern was how they're going to have enough talent. Now they're up to 700 persons. I got a few slides about the main sectors. For example, ICT, that's fresh, has a fresh startup community. There's just a huge talent pool. There's a high potential with local stakeholders. Our capacitation universities are of international level of education is really high. Actually, we are among the best countries in the world in price and output comparison, and there are just infinite potentials in this area, and actually Hungary became again a driving force within Europe to with IT jobs and just companies coming in, and they started back in the 1990s, where you see that Microsoft just came into the very beginning, Oracle, IBM, SAP, Nokia, Vodafone, T-Systems, GE, also, and many of the logos you observe in Austin and Texan environment as well. And the good thing that they're there since and happy and prospering in a sustainable way, and most importantly growing. And the phenomenon is that a lot of these companies have now global operation being run by Hungarians from Hungary. I believe we had the Continental, the Continental's tube plant in Chihuahua, for example, was 100% developed by Hungarians, and it's still managed by Hungarians. Next slide is about our health medtech in Hungary. We are world class in equipment production, with a huge percentage of that going abroad. And something we are regional leaders in Europe is pharmaceuticals, not only international companies present in Hungary, but also we have our own heritage companies who are on the stock market and having the greatest presence in Central Europe, in post-Soviet markets, and with some products in the EU as well. Automotive sector, that's something truly interesting. We started out right after the 90s by receiving Suzuki's investment, then Opel, which is GM, or used to be GM. Then we had Audi, Mercedes, and now just recently BMW. This means that basically we are the only country apart from Germany having the big three luxury car manufacturing plants in Hungary. And also we have about 700 automotive companies. Somehow the automotive sector's investment just generated a lot of inclusions within Hungarian SMEs. So a lot of local companies were able to grow and create their own engineering capacities and being able to provide and grow their companies. We have about 8 OEMs, 68 tier suppliers, and basically all automotive is present in Hungary, and gives a good portion of our GDP. With that, we switched before the industry into electromobility. This means that we created a subsidy scheme to bring in electronic vehicle production and all part production. We also invested in Zalazon, which is regionally the only testing ground for autonomous and electric vehicles with all infrastructure what is needed, and it's world class. And in the last years, we received a huge amount of investments, especially in battery production for electric vehicles. Just recently, I've seen I think, Ben, in your presentation, that was the size of the Tesla's investment. Add 100 million to that, so 1.2 billion US dollars worth of investment was SK Innovations with its battery plant into Hungary, just announced last year. But as you say, all major stakeholders are there, and Suzuki was a really good example that the first Suzuki assembly plant, which was installed, which wasn't designed by Japanese, was in Hungary because they find engineering capacity. So they were able to outsource the design of their own plant, of their plant of it was the SX4 model about 8-10 years ago. They never did that in other country before. Electronics industry is huge. It has a huge share, about 20% of our manufacturing production. Again, a lot of international companies are present, and a huge boost came from its from the auto industry with the batteries and automotive electronics. So again, that's a high potential and high output. There are like 120 industrial parks which have this activity present, and there's a huge output and value added in this sector. And of course, it goes most of it parts goes to exports, and we have a huge focus on renewables, as Hungary will be carbon emission free. The goal is 2050. I've been mentioning our goals and our incentive policies to increase productivity and R&D, since our main concern is not to create jobs in Hungary. Our main concern is to elevate the value added produced by our economy. So for that, we have regional supports depending on how advanced the industry is in certain regions of our countries. So in an investment, we even are able, if it qualifies, 50% of incentives to help a project into Hungary, and of course tax deductions. But we also do a lot of support for trainings to companies to create R&D jobs. If you create R&D jobs in Hungary, you receive a lot of incentives as well. As Kevin mentioned, with this program, we have 2 Hungarian partners. One of them is Tungsram, who is a legacy Hungarian company, which was acquired by GE after the fall of the communism. But a few years ago, it was reacquired by, it was a management buyout. And they are really focusing on innovation and to create a hub in Budapest and provide space and opportunities for creating high value added. in several sectors. They are present in lighting, automotive, or decoration or housing, but also smart solutions. A new area of focus is agri-tech, for example, how to create indoor farming, basically, which also can have a potential in space industry once we will be able to create a long-term presence of the human beings outside of the Earth. Our other partners is the Z10 incubator of the Technological University of Budapest. You've seen a lot of innovations I showed you at the middle of my slides. A great portion of that came from this university. So they also have a huge heritage, and they started this program to create on-site of a space for creating on-site innovation and helping innovation with at their campus. They have a lot of workstations, and of course, they created the modern environment for innovation with creative rooms, meeting rooms. They have prototyping. That's something really they're focusing on, and having ability to prototype. And of course, something which we all love, coffee. But in numbers, they are since their foundation in 2019, they managed 6 accelerator programs. They worked with 200 initiatives and created 18 startups with a value of about $1 million. So that was what I prepared for today. You can see my contacts, and please go ahead with your questions.
Yeah, Gabor, I think what we can do is first off, thank you for the overview of Hungary. The thing that I want to make sure that everyone that gets to hear about the bridge, right? A lot of times, if you're Microsoft, of course you can go to Hungary, right? If you're IBM, of course you can open up a place in Hungary, or the one of the local claims, the famous Austin-based National Instruments has a quite a sizable investment in Hungary as well, in one of the cities of Hungary, and that's natural. I want to remind everyone from last week's program, whether you're hearing this live or you're actually seeing the video, the real impact of this is we saw last week. One of our Mexican-based entrepreneurs, actually in Chihuahua, Carlos Bernal, who just mentioned did a shout out about, hey, Chihuahua came up because of the Continental plant there. One of the things that's interesting is we're seeing these earlier stage companies be able to find joint venture partners. Obviously, one of the ways that you as an entrepreneur can take advantage of this community and this bridge is you can find a channel partner in another place, which is more typical, right? Typically, I'm an early stage company. I look for a channel partner. That happens. But one of the things that's even more interesting is in the past, before the internet made this possible, before Zoom made this possible, before there were organizations like TechRanch who were supporting having bridges like this, it was really near impossible to have a early stage company, perhaps in Austin, Texas, or in Chihuahua, be able to find a joint venture partner on the other side of the world. And so that's part of the unique thing that if you didn't see it before, like I want to make sure I point to that. That's one of the things to take advantage of the bridge. We'll be taking some questions, but I have 2 entrepreneurs that came that are in Hungary that are going to talk about their companies. I would love to we're going to give them a minute apiece to just say a little bit more, to give us a little bit more of the flavor of the countries and a couple of examples, just a minute apiece. I would like to go ahead and as well ask the audience that's here, as you have questions, go ahead and signal that in the chat session and stuff like that, and we'll make sure we spend some time about that. But Richard Eperjesi with black belts, if you can, I'd like to see if you're ready. We can we'll have you speak first about your company, and then Pege, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing names. We'll have you print second, and then we'll have some time for wrapping up with some questions. Richard, go right ahead. Thank you for joining us on the VO Weekly, the Venture Outfitter Weekly. Tell us all about Black Belt.
Yeah, thank you very much for creating this platform, Kevin and Gabor, for the nice intro about Hungary. I represent Black Belt, and we are really a software company out of Budapest with about 200 people. And our main focus is really just to have companies, commercialize their ideas through software development. But what I wanted to talk about today was something that we started 2 years ago, which is a product. I don't know if how many of you are familiar with some of the software trends that are happening in the world, but low code and no code is becoming a hot topic. There's huge growth by 2025. Gartner estimates that 70% of all software development will have some low code or no code component. And at Black Belt, we invested in the last 2 years into a small scale low code platform. And we believe there is a space for this kind of product, for a product like this in the startup space, because a lot of small companies nowadays follow agile development, and they want to get out there quickly and learn quickly and iterate quickly. And with the talent shortage that's out there right now, it's very difficult to find and retain talent. It's crucial to improve productivity for the talent you got. And this platform enables that at a cost point that's not nearly as scary as Salesforce, OutSystems, and Mendix. So that's it in a nutshell. I only have a minute, but if anybody's interested in talking more about this, I'll be happy to continue.
Tell us, Richard, how would someone follow up with you? What's the best way for them to follow up with you? Email address, website? Go ahead and shout them out a little bit. And then Jello, make sure you capture this so that we can put it into the show notes as well for the people who see the recording.
Yeah, my email address for Black Belt is richard.eperjesi, first name, last name, at blackbelt.hu, H-U. And of course, through Gabor, you guys can also reach out to me. We're in the same city most of the time in Houston.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Thank you for joining. All right, well, we'll switch over now to, and we'll be hearing more from Richard and all the different startups, by the way. Part of what we'll be doing is a lot of the interaction is going to happen online in the more general way. And then Ben Ramirez will be hosting 5 of the companies in much greater detail that we'll be putting under a big spotlight in a more formal way in a later point. So thank you, Richard. Is it Page or Pege, or how do I say your name with Freelusion? Take it from here.
Hi, my name is Pege. Pege like PG. Okay, can I share my screen? Because
please go ahead. I think Jello has made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen. Please do.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, this is the showreel of our company. We are Freelusion. We are a show factory creating shows all over the world. Our signature movement is using mesmerizing visuals like LED walls, holographic stuff, and a lot of other cool stuff. You can see a couple of pictures from our shows. We are market leader at car mapping, work with 20 different brands so far in Abu Dhabi Formula 1 race for Ferrari. At building projection, we won the non-formula World Championship in Moscow. But our most famous act is dance combined with projection mapping. With this act, we have been at America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent. In America's Got Talent, we get the best dance act, and in Britain's Got Talent, we were viewer's choice. And since then, we start to work with theaters all over the world. In Las Vegas, at the Mind Freak Chris Angel's show, we have created all his interactive visuals. We work with many cruisers, ocean cruisers like Royal Caribbean. And of course, we attend at many corporate events for Google, for YouTube, Dell, IBM, Samsung, and a lot of other Fortune 500 companies. And our latest investment is that we start to operate a 620 seats theater in the heart of Budapest. It's a classic theater in the city. And we would like to create a mixed reality stage system with our technology, with our stuff. And I can say we would like to revolutionize the theater business and create the old stuff theater into another level with interactive virtual solutions and stuff like that.
That's excellent. In fact, I have to admit that is cool. I'm looking forward to going when I'm in Budapest at the end of November. I'm hoping that there might be an opportunity I could go to that mixed reality theater. But thank you for sharing. If there's someone who wants to follow up with you, what's the best way for them to follow up with you?
I will put into the chat my email address, so it's the easiest. Freelusion.com is our website. You can check that, but I will put my email address. It's pg@freelusion.com into the chat section.
Sounds great. And thank you, PG. That's real exciting, especially the level of interaction. And since Austin is a creative city, I'm sure there would be people that are specifically interested in that type of technology. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So it kind of gives you a sense of the cool stuff coming out of Hungary. So I'm real excited about what the bridge represents, and I'm looking forward to doing the work that's there. One of the things I want to just make sure before we'll stick around and keep on going, even though our time is going to be coming to an end. Our official time will be coming to an end. And I know that many times we have entrepreneurs that say, hey, I got to get back to work. I got my meeting at 12 o'clock or whatever it might be. So I just want to make sure I remind everyone, opportunities for collaboration. The great thing that's already happening in the chat session right now is I saw a message from Shelby, one of our entrepreneurs based in Austin, Texas, already interacting with Richard, looking for a logistics package. That type of interaction is exactly what we want to do. Now, I think the best way that we're going to host some of this interaction is going to be both. You're going to see part of it on the Mighty Network and part of it on the Slack channel. I've noticed that there's a certain style of interaction that happens back and forth. We'll post more messages back and forth so that you can find that and easily find that. Make sure that you're in the Slack channel. You do not have to be formally part of the VO network to take advantage of that. This is available to the venture outfitter community in general. So take advantage of that interaction back and forth. The second thing is we're really targeting early success. So if there's something that's needed on the Texas side of the bridge, and this can also include, since we have Chihuahua, Mexico mentioned as well earlier, and we have an entrepreneur from Chihuahua that's online right now with us live. If there's other technologies that would pull opportunities this direction, let us know as well. The jury that's going to be putting together to pick the 20 companies and then the 5 companies that actually get the special program are we're really wanting to make sure that in those first 5 that we create real results. And real results are not meetings. Real results are business that's done together and driving opportunity back and forth in the future, right? That's specifically what we're really looking to do. And then, we'll be expanding our work together. I think I've mentioned this, at least a handful of you, in my own personal example, there was technology. There was actually a piece of science that about 5 years ago, I was one of the crowdfunding people that crowdfunded this one scientist to do this one set of technology in Hungary years ago. And so I'm real excited about what this represents on the bridge. Hungary's always been a country that I'm like, hey, I'm really looking forward to doing some stuff. Real excited about this partnership. We'll go more into detail about the engagement model, but the focus of the core program is going to be the middle 3 phases of the engagement, the venture engagement model that we do at Tech Ranch. We can tell you more about all the different things. There will be a partner planning meeting. If you'd like your organization to be a considered partner for this bridge, and you haven't, you're not on my personal radar, let me know as soon as possible. By next week on Tuesday morning, we're going to have our next partners meeting in Tuesday morning. That's what this middle partner planning meeting. Best practices using the Venture Bridge at 9:30 on November 4th. We're going to have a Hungarian-focused conversation about best practices. Now, last week in the Venture Outfitter Weekly, we heard best practices from one of our Italian entrepreneurs, Alessio, who talked about how he had taken advantage of the Italian bridge. And we heard from Carlos about how he had taken advantage of the Mexican bridge and then bridged all the way to Italy, right? We'll hear some more about best practices. This is open for anybody that'd like to join us, but it's going to be content that's specifically focused on the Hungarian part. We will have a VO weekly call that starts at 11 o'clock, just like normal, like we're doing today. And I should say that there will be other events. These will be detailed out on a webpage that's just about to show up called techranch.com/bridge Hungary. And so that will be the details of the program, plus this video and other videos, plus how to plug into some of the different organizations and the partner organizations will all be there on that webpage. The webpage is not there yet, but it will be within the next, at least the stub of it will be out there within the next 24 hours. When I am in Hungary on the 23rd, yes, I will be celebrating American Thanksgiving in Hungary. So Thanksgiving week, I will be there. I'm sorry to miss having turkey and tamales with my Texas and Mexico brethren. But we will be out there working on that. In fact, that week on the 25th, even though it's Thanksgiving in the United States, we will have a VO weekly call. It'll be in the evening in Hungary, and I'll make sure that we're going to be specifically targeting getting you more information on Hungarian partners that are looking for engagement. If there's anyone that specifically wants to follow up on that, let me know. And if you're looking for something specific, take advantage of this time. There are applications. If you know of other Hungarian companies that might not have heard of the bridge yet, make sure that they're on our radar. Consul Gabor and myself are the two people that if you get information to us, we can actually share that out. And like I mentioned already, 9:30, November 4th, best practices. We will use the normal VO weekly bridge as part of that. If you're not on our email list, make sure that you sign up for our email list. We will actually have the URLs to the mentor sign up and to the country manager sign up on this page as well. But the newsletter sign up is there now at techranch.com/connect. There's so much stuff happening that a lot of what's happening is we're not able to get that all out during these programs, and we're not necessarily going to just post it into onto the network as well. We're going to use the newsletter so we can get a much wider audience. This will include some of the profiles of the companies we just heard from as well. I also want to mention, since I have several of you here are on the regular audience of what happens with the VO Weekly, we're going to be switching over in the next couple of weeks to a new technology so that the broadcast process, everyone knows that's been here for a while that I've had some difficulties with the broadcasting process on using Zoom. So we'll be switching over to another technology that's more suited. We're going to be using RailYard specifically for that, or StreamYard, I mean, for that, following what Chris Hughes, one of our others, one of the TechRanch supporters, has been doing. So we'll be doing that. So there will be some changes. It'll be announced on the network in Slack, also on the calendar invites and on the event calendar on TechRanch. We'll publish that everywhere, but we will be switching over. So there's going to be a slightly different change, probably within the next 3 weeks, maybe as soon as the next 2 weeks. Reminder about the seminar that's coming soon. And then what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and slow down for a second, stop sharing for a second, make sure I get a chance to look at the chats, because I know that there's a bunch of different things that have come in. Is there anyone that had any other questions in the last couple of minutes that wants to make sure that they get them out of the way right this second? Because I don't like taking us too long beyond 12 o'clock because I know people already have to hop out. But any last questions that you'd like to go over really quick? Anything that's needed? Okay, I don't see anyone coming off of mute. So what I'm going to do is we'll go back to this last slide and do our wrap. Part of what I want to say is thank you to our partners. Thank you to Consul Gabor and the Consulate of Hungary in Houston, and for initiating this program. Thank you to Ben Ramirez with Cogitory Global, who is a partner in this program as well. You'll see a lot more about him and what he's doing in the coming weeks as he talks a little bit more about, we'll have him come back and present to the VO Weekly part. And thank you in general to the entrepreneurs that have made this bridging process possible. I think it's great to see how you're taking advantage of the bridges that are already in place. And through that, you know, entrepreneurs driven by values and vision working together can change the world. So let's go change the world for the better together. With that, we'll call it closed for today's Venture Outfitter Weekly. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you again soon. So with that, take care.